Look what it says here. So this is from Elon Trades. I'm going to go ahead and follow him. And look what it says. The Federal Reserve recently announced the launch of the FedNow round-the-clock instant payment service serving more than 10,000 financial institutions for July. Cypherium is the only public blockchain I could find, as in him, that is FedNow service provider, or is one. With the FedNow launch scheduled for July, as we know, this should give Cypherium a good 3 to 4 month speculative runway. $50 million market cap, and on top of that, look what's listed on. Some of these particular links. Of course, we talked about this whole thing about them joining back on March 14th. This was March 14th, 2022. Sean the Crypto Smith pointed out, he's like, Max, that was last year's date and so on, but it's still valid. I'd like to share that with you guys. And think about this. Let's pull it up real quick. So regards to Cypherium, wait until, of course, CMC gets the market cap confirmed, which I think those days are limited. All right. So let's pull up Cph. This tab instead. And look what it says here. Rank of 3,034, market cap of 46,648,026. That's unconfirmed. Once that is confirmed, this flies off of that ranking of 34 and easily puts this in the top 200 or maybe 300. I think 200 at least. So that's definitely worth noting. Shout out to Web36. He is a Cypherium maxi. He went all out. So he says, this is not a bluff. Dump everything and buy Cypherium. Now I want to say this. I don't agree with that. If that's you, then that's you. But I'm not doing that. But he's saying dump everything and buy Cypherium before it's too late. It's the only proof of work, ISO20022 compatible and only blockchain service provider for FedNow. Now that part is true. Remember, we're talking about the whole thing about proof of work and how proof of a POS, not a pizza. You know what? Those particular ones that are proof of stake, right? Those particular ones are always at a higher risk of hacks. That's just a reality. Where on the other hand, with proof of work, like we pointed out earlier in the show, I don't know what time that was. Maybe at the first hour, because we're like, wow, way into the show. My point is this. Yes, that is correct. Proof of work, it's just not as vulnerable to like hacks and stuff like that, right? Jetpack, if he's still here, I think that's what we were talking about. Anyway, yeah, it's the only proof of work, ISO20022 compatible and only blockchain service provider for FedNow. It mainly bridges CBDCs for central banks. It has the best tech, utility, and partnerships. He says it's a 10,000x potential. Well, I hope he's right, because I have some. I know some of you guys bought more. Shout out to Miguel if you're still here. I know the other night you bought more on the pullback. You didn't buy a green candle. Shout out to Miguel. All right. So here it is. Shows the whole thing about FedNow. Look at this guy. 100% scam coin. Do not buy. I mean, people always say that about anything, right? But look at this. I'm going to go further into it. Look at some of the particular partnerships. You also got to keep in mind, right? We have HBAR has that Google partnership. I believe also Casper that we just talked about. So look at some of these particular partnerships. Standout partnerships, by the way. Who doesn't know about Google with Google Cloud? Microsoft, Chainlink, Amazon Web Services, IBM, right? Pretty big ones. I don't know about some of these other ones, but man, those are the big players. Top of that, some of their future plans. Yeah, CBDC, R&D, continue working with central banks and CBDCs to research and also provide development. Regulated DeFi, collaborate with governments and central banks to introduce regulated DeFi. I know this is kind of faded for whatever reason. You might have just took a screenshot from the site and that's how it came. You never know. Cypherium Wallet. Do you know that they have a Cypherium Wallet? Listen to this, guys. Transform Cypherium Wallet into leading instrument for digital identity and everyday payment. Of course, we talk about the whole thing with payment systems, especially with Fed now, but let's talk about a little bit more. And that logo looks so much like PayPal. It's ridiculous. So they need to fix that. Established Cypherium as the global cross-border payment settlement system for CBDCs. On top of that, on-chain financial instruments. Realize real-world financial instruments such as stocks, bonds, derivatives, mortgages on-chain. Not off-chain, but on-chain. That's big in itself. Long-term vision. Every solid project should have a long-term vision, especially if we're entering into the stage of what? Regulatory clarity for large institutions to come in on the massive, biggest wave of, institutional money flow that will literally put the market cap of the, overall crypto market cap into multi-trillions. That's how it basically gets done. Long-term vision, make Cypherium the global reserve currency, like I said, through CBDC adoption. Now, if you want to know some specific stats, and we have shared this before, but if anything, if you're new, look at this. We do the same thing when it comes to XDC, compare and contrast, right? So let's compare and contrast. Let's compare, of course, to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and even Ripple, because let's face it, have you seen the recent video I did, Cypherium versus Ripple? Well, I'm a holder of both, and I believe in both. But let's do a fair comparison. We understand Bitcoin, Ethereum is extremely slow, so I'm not going to highlight those specific ones. Let's do Cypherium versus Ripple. Excuse me. Scalability, high. Ripple's also high. Decentralization, high. It says Ripple is low. All right, security, high. Ripple's medium. I don't know if I agree with that 100%, but look here. Censorship resistance, high. Ripple's low. And that is worth noting. Consensus mechanism, Cypherium, their Byzantine fault tolerance, that's what that stands for, BFT. I did more of a deeper dive into that in regards to that. If you're more technical, you look more into that. But anyways, permissionless hot stuff is what it's called, plus proof of work. Like Bitcoin, it is proof of work. Ethereum is no longer proof of work, so that particular part needs to be updated. And then look at this for Ripple, federated Byzantine agreement. Transaction throughput 6,500 plus. Ripple's over 1,500, maybe scalable. We'll definitely see how scalable, right? In regards to TPS here soon, hopefully next week, right, guys? Going further down into smart contract language, you have Java, Solidity, Turing complete virtual machine. Yes, only one that's a yes is Ethereum. Ripple's a no. Transactional governance. They do have miners. Bitcoin also has miners. Ethereum, no longer the case. Well, Max, what about Ethereum Classic? You're right. It's Ethereum Classic, but not with traditional Ethereum that we know it to be right now moving forward. And then with Ripple, it's a centralized node operator. Incentive scheme. How about this? Block rewards plus transaction fees for Cypherium. However, with Ripple, you have full node operators. All right. Transactional finality. It's one thing to have fast TPS, but what's finality, right? Well, as we know, for instance, with Ethereum, Bitcoin, and so on, it's slow as all hell. Both Cypherium and Ripple offer instant finality. So I'm glad they recognize that. How about as far as vulnerabilities for attacks? Well, Cypherium has 1/3 Byzantine nodes. And of course, with Ripple, like it says malicious gateway central point of failure. I don't know about that. All right. So I think a lot of the stats on this one are really, really good. I might want to have to fact check. No, not through Snopes. God, no. But some of this, when it comes to some of these comparisons, like malicious gateway central point of failure, I don't know about that. So, but for the most part, this was worth noting and good to look at. So shout out to Well36 for retweeting this. And of course, we've seen this particular one a while back, but I wanted to reshare this with you.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you have not yet subscribed, do yourself a favor and subscribe for more information on the ISO20022 compliant tokens, and hit the notification bell to make sure that you are aware of the new videos when they come up. Max and I cover these ISOs, and we also have a live show every single night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you tune in for that. You won't want to miss it. Thanks again, and we will see you on the next video.